Hello everyone. In this video, let us discuss about a case study on an ARM processor. How ARM entered into the market by replacing other architectures. Now, can you see these logos? All these models are in partnership with ARM. Why all these devices, all these companies are using ARM processor? Even the Apple has replaced its Intel with ARM. So, how this is possible? And so, what is the special feature of ARM? In the previous section, we have discussed about the history of ARM and the architecture of ARM and also its special features too. So, the special features of ARM has made the Apple to replace Intel with ARM. So, let us look into the history of Apple. So initially Apple was using Motorola chips, and later they moved from Motorola chips to IBM PowerPC in order to achieve the performance which they desire. But this IBM's PowerPC was unable to give the performance needed by Apple with the required energy consumption, that is with low energy consumption too, that matters. And so the Apple moved from IBM's PowerPCs to Intel x86 processors was being used. Even though the Intel was unable to satisfy Apple's requirement in performance as well as in energy, so this ARM entered into the picture. So Apple, what it did is it tried to start its in-house business projects. That is, started to manufacture its own processor, its own chip. And so what it did is it purchased our architectural license from ARM. That is the flexibility what ARM has done. That is ARM, it started to provide licensing for its architecture. So this Apple purchased the license of ARM architecture and they started their chip business in-house. Then Apple started to build its own processor, that is M1, M2 processors. So this Mac M1, the processors are the architecture purchased from ARM, and they incorporated their own requirements too. This is how ARM entered into Apple. So let us see what are now currently Apple is using ARM. So now we are going to compare how ARM entered into the market and what is the difference of ARM when compared to Intel, which was being used by Apple previously. So Intel 86 processors, these are the features of Intel 86 processors. So Intel is a CISC processor, that is complex instruction set computing processor. It has limited number of registers. The load and store are incorporated in the instruction itself. It has complex instructions since it is a RISC architecture. Efficiency when compared to ARM is very less. These are the different features of Intel. Now coming to ARM. ARM has 32-bit RISC processor. This is a special feature of ARM which helps to improve the performance of the architecture. So it has reduced instruction set computing architecture. It has high code density. The load and store architecture, it is a load store architecture. It has thumb instructions. Though ARM has 32-bit processor, it can use 16-bit instructions too under thumb instructions. Uses symbol instruction set. Conditional executions are available. Then inline barrel shifter is available along with a multiply unit, which is that is Mac, which is a special feature of ARM, which again helps to improve the performance of the system. Why Intel to ARM? Apple opted to choose ARM because of Intel's Skylake processor. Actually, this Intel Skylake, which was previously been used, is apparently terrible. The performance was very terrible. At that time, it has no other choice because ARM was in the research R&D stage. ARM versus Intel. So when we see this Intel, more emphasis on speed and performance than power consumption, Intel gave. But ARM focuses on power consumption too. It is compatible with most of the operating systems like Windows 7, XP, Linux, Android, and all these, which consumes lots of power. Intel is used in laptops, desktops, and servers. ARM it supports Linux as well as Android. It is used in smartphones, iPads, tabs, all the portable devices as well as wearable devices because the power consumption is very less in the case of ARM. So when we are, if it is a portable device, we are more concerned about the battery life, and so ARM became success. ARM offers a distinct advantage over Intel 86 in power consumption and efficiency. ARM is used in most of the applications which are portable, as we discussed earlier. It gave a tough, so this becomes a tough competition for the Intel 86 processors. And moreover, ARM is compatible too. Now, if we see the performance equation, this is the performance equation which shows that CISC and RISC computing, when compared to CISC and RISC computing, how the clock cycles per instruction is being utilized. So, more number of instructions can be executed in the case of ARM, but it takes multiple clock cycles to execute entire program in the case of Intel since it is following CISC architecture. Why is ARM more power efficient? Because ARM is risk based. Since ARM is risk based, it is more power efficient. It requires fewer transistors, which helps to improve the cost, power consumption, and produces low heat too. Additionally, unlike computers, which often prioritize performance, smartphones tend to benefit from the longer battery life and low heat dissipation. So, the major problem with smartphones is they require long battery life as well as the heat dissipation should be less. These two features was being obviously provided by ARM that hit the market. So this is data from the Apple's website, and it clearly shows that the processors, these M1 and M2, these processors mentioned that they are ARM processors. See, the performance of ARM processor is very high when compared to the performance of this that is Intel processors. So this is data which was taken from the Apple's website. They now have introduced laptops and everything into they have got the license from ARM, and they are using ARM architecture, and they have started to make a built-in, that is Apple Silicon has been introduced. So this is an assessment for you. In which year Apple moved from Intel to ARM? Recently, a guess you can make. What is meant by RISC architecture? Thank you.